Alright, YouTubers, what's happening? Just doing my follow-up video on the Raine by Kirby Lambert mass drop, and Raine knives. And had some footage that I had taken using the knife, and yeah, I don't know what happened to that footage. It somehow is gone. So off my memory card, I don't know what happened to it. So that's kind of disappointing. I'm trying to fix my camera. There we go. But I can tell you, from use, this handle is super ergonomic. It is really, really comfortable, especially like in a hammer grip, like so. So if you are having to really hard to use this knife in this kind of a grip, it is very, very comfortable. A lot of pressure, no real hot spots. Also comfortable here. A little bit of a hot spot in the back corner by the pocket clip on that part of my hand, but not bad, not really bad at all. So good ergonomics. Flipping action is still good. Lockup has stayed the same after use. The blade itself is not terribly sharp. I don't think it came sharp though. I didn't use it enough to get it to where it's at. So as far as sharpness is concerned, so I don't think it was a very good factory edge, which is unfortunate because I'm the first one to get this knife in the pass around, and yeah. So yeah, I mean it kind of struggles to cut paper. So all I really did was cut some cardboard with it, so that shouldn't dull it that fast. Yeah, it's pretty, struggles a little bit to cut paper. It has a decent shaving edge though, so it just needs to be sharpened or stropped. I've stropped it a little bit, but you know, I'm not going to touch it. Being it's a pass around knife, we don't really sharpen them, and it's got the recurve. So that is actually like the, I'd say, deal breaker for me on this knife. Two things. One, it's a little heavy. It weighs almost 6 ounces, so it is beefy. Can be, you know, considered a hard use folder. And then that recurve blade. While recurves are good cutters, they tend to be good slicers. Just resharpening that is going to be a pain, and with a wicked edge, it's almost pretty much a no-go. I know the KME has some stones you can get that'll help with that, with recurves. So if you got a KME and you're wanting to sharpen it, you know, don't mind recurves, then by all means go for this knife. Because if it was a just a standard, you know, straight edge right here, not necessarily straight, but you know, more of a traditional drop point without the recurve right there, I'd be very, very interested in this knife. I think that is really the big killer, and the weight. If they could kind of learn or mill out these, you know, titanium liners in between the carbon fiber overlays here, that would be great. They're kind of thin, so I don't know, especially right here, they're pretty thin. So maybe that's what, you know, cause it to weigh a little bit more, because you can't really do a whole lot as far as skeletization is concerned there. You probably could up on the bolsters though a little bit, so you could lighten it up a titch, you know. It doesn't have terribly thick blade stock or anything, so I think most of the weight has to be coming from the titanium handles with zero. They're pretty thick, and they are, especially up here, and yeah, I completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's a little heavy for what I like, and the recurve blade's a no-go. Other than that, super ergonomic knife, very good looking knife, top-notch quality from Raine, as we'd expect. I like, again, I said this in the initial review or overview, that I like the lack of branding on the knife, just a little drop right there, the D on the pivot, and the Lambert logo. I think that's great. I would love to see that more from Drop and the knives they come out with, because before it was a lot of branding, and most of us guys don't like that. I also, for the price at $250, would like to see a little bit better steel. Nothing wrong with RLW34. I had it on my baby machine, and it actually lasted pretty long. So if if it's got a good heat treat on it, I'm not sure what Rockwell hardness they're running it at. You know, what the optimal range is for that steel. It's an older steel, but for that price range, I would have preferred S35 or obviously M390 if possible, or 20CV, somewhere in that range. But that's a whole other discussion going on right now that we'll get into. I do have a video coming up on that soon. It's a project that a few of us are putting together. I think you guys will be very interested in it, and it's going to involve some community input and feedback, or not feedback, hopefully community donations, honestly, to that project. But I think it will kind of, a lot of people are saying that the cut test and things are people doing to prove that, you know, this M390 is not heated right. it has too many variables because it's a guy at home cutting cardboard rope, right? So we're going to do some scientific testing with this. Coming soon. Stay tuned for that. More information. So this is going to wrap up. Again, I had a bunch of footage, and it's somehow got erased off the memory card, but I will tell you it is a good overall user knife. You know, my only holdup was with that recurve blade, really. That's the one deal breaker, and a little bit of heft. I could deal with the heft even, just that little bit of that recurve. Not a big fan, because I resharpen all my knives, and that's just not fun to do on a Wicked Edge especially. So that kind of puts it as a knife that I wouldn't purchase myself. So other than that though, guys, I think it's a good looking knife. I really like that red and DLC one. That one's pretty hot. I wish they would have came out with a little bit different blade shape. I know Kirby Lambert likes his recurves though, so a lot of makers do. Ken Onion, you know, he did a lot of recurve knives, but there is some definite merit how they cut, but they are not easiest to sharpen, and it's not like you can send your knife into Riot for resharpening. I don't. Maybe they have a U.S. presence, or rep, or location or something you could send it into like we does. I'm not sure, so kind of keep that in consideration. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.